So we're out on another early Saturday morning trail run / hike. It's about 5:30 right now and I've been going for about half an hour. And sunrise is set for 15 minutes from now, so we're starting to get some light, which is nice because it's been pretty dark even with the headlamp on. I've just come through a kilometre or so of just little moths lining the trail, like in great numbers, and I haven't got my reading glasses or sunglasses on because it's too dark and they just fog up anyway. So a fair number of those moths are now stuck to my shirt and my arms, and I consumed a few and a few more. And I'm essentially vegan, so typically not on my menu. But we've got this nice little patch right now where there's some clear sky, but clouds kind of surrounding us around the periphery. And they're supposed to close in as the day progresses because they're predicting more rain toward the end of the day, and then Sunday could be quite intense rain. So I probably wasn't rested enough for this, but I decided to pull the trigger today because tomorrow might be boring, and despite the fact that I want to raise training potential on the day conditions, I'm not too motivated to do that so far out, so I think I'll be selective. I think we're actually heading, oh gosh, I'm just covered in a massive spider web, which makes me think about the potential predicament of having a spider on me somewhere. So I think I'm going to stop here and have a quick look around. Definitely covered in bugs. Definitely got that one sorted. Now that one looks like I might be in the clear. So that's one reason I tend to keep my headlamp on longer than I need to, because you can often see the reflection in the line of the spider web, or when they put on the thicker cross webs to support themselves by the big trees. So sometimes you get lucky, although I certainly did not on that occasion. Fairly stunning out at the moment. If there weren't so many clouds, it would be the golden hour. I'm sure we'd be treated with some nicer colours in the sky, but it's still pretty nice. So I'm probably about 2 or 3 weeks before I kick into a more formal training program for the Guzzler Half Full. So my run last week got me from near the start to I think it's Gap Creek Reserve, maybe 500 meters beyond that. So that's about 7 kilometers out of the 50 kilometer race course. And then I had to trek back so today I've driven out to the Gap Creek car park, and I'm going to run a similar strategy to last weekend, which is go out for roughly an hour, plus or minus, based on the terrain. If there's more down on the way out, I'll probably turn at about 50 or 55. Just to allow for the slower time to get back, or the slower pace. Yeah, I think strategy right now is continue to walk or hike the uphills, take it easy on the downs, but always have the option to walk if it seemingly becomes too steep. And then run the flats again, not too intensively. Oh, not sure I'm doing the right thing here. Yep. I always have the actual corner and then a bit of a spillover. I'm guessing if they're running light vehicles for maintenance reasons. Yeah, so about 2 hours on my feet. A combination of running and walking. And then for this week, and probably the weeks leading up to formally starting the training program, I'm going to try to get 4 hours of this type of exercise, or running on, the road into my legs. I think that's what it had said. it assumed that you'd been running for about 4 to 5 hours a week when you kicked off that plan. So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm just taking it easy because I had a calf tear about 5 or so weeks ago, so it's also me testing how things are going. I think we're on, might be on parts of Enoggera Reservoir already. Anyway, I'm gonna put this away for a little while. Very steep climb upcoming. I know from having done it already that you cannot run down it. So this is going to be a challenge. There's a light rain happening right now, which is welcomed. It has been like running in a shower this morning. The humidity is so high, but with none of the actual cooling benefits of a cold shower. All right, I'm heading back now toward the car park. I think this is where some ascent kicks off again. And we keep climbing for quite some time. And probably check that really. Well, we're climbing for the next kilometre at least. So that'll keep the blood flowing. Starting to see some life on the track. Always boosts your spirits. Yeah, I think we've been on the Enoggera Reservoir break, and if you want to stick with that, you hold left, or I think it's a northeasterly direction, but we've broken off to the south southeast, and continue to climb. Man, it is humid. You cannot cool down, especially with a hydration bag on the back. I bought the it's an ultimate direction vest, and I think it's 5 litres, and I got, I would say, a size that was perhaps a little bit too small, but it had so much excess ties and straps, and that eventually I got the shits with them flapping around, so I cut them off and burned the ends, and it's been working well. It's helping to keep me sane. Something about, you know, a little irritation at the start of a 2 or 3 hour session can end up being the thing that breaks you, like a rock in the shoe, or a toenail that's a little bit too long and it's cutting into another one, or so trying to optimize the path and remove as many irritations as possible. But the guzzler, full, has, wouldn't say an extensive list of mandatory requirements, and as I understand, at one of the checkpoints they'll ask you to present one item of the mandatory list to make sure that, so that they can audit the process. So it's become clear that this 5 litre vest will not be sufficient for the run, so I have ordered a Salomon Advanced Skin 12, slightly cheaper at the Trail Co. Than going through, you know, either the website or other suppliers. So, I mean, not significantly, but, you know, enough to make a difference. So, and I like to buy stuff from the Trail Co. because I get to support people who are passionate about the outdoor lifestyle, trail running, keep our trails clean. So, plus, if ever there's an excuse to get new kit, you've got to jump on that opportunity. You have to make that excuse stick, no matter how thin. In this instance, I think it was a pretty good justification. I won't be able to run without it. There's some little bit of cooling breeze moving across the top here. that's a nice little win, I would say. All right, back in the pocket you go for now. One question I have as I move up this fairly mild hill, I think I'm gaining a meter every 10, is, and I don't think I can answer it objectively yet, because, you know, I've never been 50 k's into a race before, is will I want, well, I'm guessing I will want them, but is it a good decision to buy some trekking poles and strap them to my bag just in case, or with the intention of using them throughout. So yeah, I think if it looks as though there's a hill within the last 5k of the half full that is very similar to the ascent of the, I think it was the Chapel Hill Reservoir. If that lands in the last 5k, which I think it does based on my recollection of the topography, or something very similar to it, I mean, because I think we branch in a northeasterly direction there and sort of go up towards one of the TV stations. But yeah, if that's at the end, and I'm, 48 kilometers in, that is going to be physically and mentally fatiguing. So I think maybe I've answered my question. Maybe I should try to borrow some poles, because good ones seem really expensive. I think my mother-in-law has some, but I can't recall if you can fold them, so that would be a big no-no. And the rain is picking up, so hopefully it stays like this and we don't get any flooded roads. Kind of made lovely. But I very much welcome this. But this hill, oh my god, this camera will not do it justice, but geez, that is steep. I think I'll put that away so I can maybe I'll be okay. to watch these videos of Gary Robbins training for the Barclays Marathon in the North Shore Mountains of Vancouver, and he would set out at 5 p.m. on a fall or even winter day, maybe fall, and just run overnight in the dark, and he would try to do it with no sleep throughout the day so that he could mimic the amount of fatigue that he might experience at the Barclay Marathon in Tennessee. It's pretty cool to watch. Sometimes when I feel as though I'm fatigued, I can use that kind of memory to remind myself that you're not fatigued. People have been after it for 12, 24 hours, 36 hours on 100 plus milers. They're fatigued. And somehow they find the will and resilience to keep going. So, I mean, they might be a special breed. Well, they definitely are. But it's good to have a landmark to put everything into perspective. The other thing is, I'll finish this, and my mood is already better than any regular person should be. Although, I don't mean that. Everyone should have an enjoyable life to the extent possible, but there are so many factors to do with luck that are outside of our control. But I'll finish this up, get home, shower, get warm, and I'll be riding this runner's high for several hours until I crash and want to sleep, much to the dismay of my wife.